Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Focus on Liberia, the marketplace. I say good afternoon to you all. I'm in California. I know some of my folks, they're on the East Coast and some of them are in the Midwest area. So early good afternoon to all of you. And if you're in Liberia, it's early evening. Once again, this is Focus on Liberia, the marketplace, where, as you know, we always look to educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. And this time we're going to be talking about it from the personal finances side and so forth. Today I'm being joined by Alex Cuffy and also Gabriel Carter. And before we get into a lot of things about the financials and so forth, let me take this time to just quickly read our disclaimer for FOL. So the content is for informational purposes only. You should not construe any such information or other material as legal, tax, investment, financial, or other advice. Nothing contained on our media or written documents constitute a solicitation, recommendation, endorsement, or offer by FOL or any third-party service provider to buy or sell any securities or any financial instrument in this or in any other jurisdiction in which such media material may be shared. All content on this site is for information of a general nature and does not address the circumstances of any particular individual or entity. Nothing in the media constitute professional or financial advice, nor does any information on the platform constitute a comprehensive or complete statement of the matters discussed or the law relating thereto. FOL is not a fiduciary by virtue of any person's use or access to this media content. You alone assume the sole responsibility of evaluating the merits and risks associated with the use of such information. Ladies and gentlemen, quite simply put, what we say here on FOL is please consult a professional licensed advisor or professional before you make any kind of financial decisions. We strive to bring you great quality people that we can talk things about, professionals, but please do your due diligence. You're responsible for your monies in your pocket. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we know that the holiday has been well spent. We've seen that there's been record numbers of spending, purchasing, and different things like that. And so now you're sitting down in January wondering what's going to be happening. How are you going to get your house in order with the expenditures? And so right now, what we do want to talk about today on this show is personal financial budgeting and so forth. And we have our two panelists from FOL. And one is a managing consultant and one is I believe, manager in the banking world, high up there. And so these guys know a lot. But before we get into that, Mr. Cuffy, sir, I want to focus our attention on you, take a few minutes and really get a chance, not from the personal side, most people know you, but I think from the professional side, we want to talk a little bit about your company and what it is that you provide, what kind of services that you provide, because we see that you're always speaking on the show about money laundering, accounting services. You have a lot of experience having worked on the African continent and also in the U.S. So without being too much babbling on, Mr. Coffey, please tell us a little bit about your company that we see here. And we see that is up. And we're just wondering and curious, what is it exactly that you do at Allen Bernard International Accounting and Tax Services? Tell us about it.
Thank you, William, and thank you for that good intro of the show. Again, I got to tell you again that you are the man, you are the guy, to do these things. So thank you very much for that splendid introduction. So, yeah, as you said, I have a wide range of experience in different fields, starting off in auditing with PricewaterhouseCoopers, and then I moved on to industry work in gold mining. So I did some work in Ghana. I was based in Ghana at one point, and then moved down and worked in Nigeria, Sierra Leone, back in Liberia. Then I came over to the States, In the States, I did some auditing work. I did financial analysis for big companies. And then whilst I was doing that, I went back to Liberia on the GMAP to help to set up the financial processes to stop corruption and all that stuff. I did that, then that took me into anti-money laundering. So I did anti-money laundering since 2014. Then again, as these things that we do in the financial services, everything goes along with getting certified. So I then embarked upon being a certified anti-money laundering specialist, and which I've been doing since 2014 to date. But in between that, I also do financial services, public financial management work, accounting work, and things like that. Allen Bernard International as a company, the idea started from USA in Minnesota. We took that to Liberia. We did some work in Liberia. Of course, we worked for African Development Bank. We worked for the World Bank. We did project for the IMF. And we also did work for the IDF of the World Bank and things like that. So now that we're back in the States, so we picked up again in the States. So this time we provide Allen Bernard International. It has two offices. We started off in Minnesota. So we have an office in Minnesota. And then we transitioned to Dallas, Texas. Of course, mostly for our anti-money laundering compliance services. So we now have an office in Dallas, Texas as well.
Thank you. Let's take a second there. It seems more that you are looking at focusing on some attention in basically giving good quality work to small businesses. So tell me something. Do I need to be in if I want to do a 501c, there's a myth that I should only get someone that is local to me. But please tell me a little bit about the services you provide. I see registration, business, and everything. How can you, as a consultant, help with that?
That's a great question, and that's what I was coming to. So locally in the US, we have the big projects that we do internationally and stuff like that. But locally in the US, we provide business support services. We provide accounting and tax services. That is away from the anti-money laundering services. The anti-money laundering services is for institutions, for banks, insurance companies, casinos. Those companies, those people that provide financial services that have to be compliant with FinCEN, with the U.S. Treasury, with the Bank Secrecy Act, and things like that. So the OFAC, the OCC, for the Office of the Controller of the Currency, and the Office of Financial Asset Control. Those people that sanction regime and things like that. But on the business support and accounting and tax services, which we provide for individual and small businesses. So our focus is on growing and transforming non-profit, specifically home health care agencies. So those are in the non-profit industry. Those that do the group home business, everything in between there, as well as we provide for other small businesses in other industry. Okay, so what we do with business support, say if you're a startup company and you want to obtain a business registration, we can help you with that process. So the business registration for federal, for your state, to get your employees identification number, and other state requirement or other organizations or other industry requirement. So if you are in the medical field, for example, we will help you with registering your business. We'll take you through the 9-year. If you're in the health services, we'll take you through the 9-year. So for non-profit, we'll help you prepare your bylaws. We'll help you prepare your policy and procedure documentation. We'll help you to obtain your non-profit 501c because there are different 501c.
Right.
They got a 501c3 and they got a 501c1 and all that stuff. So that's for tax exempt status with the IRS. We'll help you, walk you through the process. We'll do that for you. So if you lost your 501c3, we can also help you to reinstate that.
So please help me understand this. For a business looking to do your services, give me an idea of maybe why are there some savings that an individual may consider from your service versus trying to do this in house? What are just some ideas, high level? Why is this important to have a professional such as yourself doing this stuff? Why
Yeah,
not just do it on my own?
yeah, because it's like, say for example, ABR, Allen Bernard International for short, is called ABR.
Right.
So for example, ABR, if I want to do my website, if I want to do my media thing, if I want to do my promotion of my company, William, I don't have all the expertise in the world. And there are other people or other businesses that provide that. So yes, you may have the expertise there for running a nonprofit or running your home care agencies. You may have all your degrees and your experience, but you may not have the time and the expertise to do the paperwork, for example, that has to do with registering or certificating a home care service. So you have to talk to a professional. Okay, if you think cheap is good, but sometimes they say, I forgot that saying, they say cheap is expensive. So we don't charge a whole lot, but it's better to come to the expert to get it done, so it's done properly. And what we do also, we engage with you on a continuous basis to ensure that that's what we call business support. We give you advices and things like that, and some of that you don't even pay for it. So some of the ideas we can give you. And on top of that, we also provide accounting and tax services. So that's what I mean by the 9-year. So we provide back office accounting for small businesses, nonprofit, and home care, healthcare agencies.
Let's talk about that.
Mhm.
Really, because I've seen, and you've actually mentioned where so your clients, this is not a one time, hey, you just see me one time in the year, right? What your services you're offering, it's more of being, what is it, like your partnering, your good collaboration? Tell me about that. You mentioned that, and you also talked about doing some bookkeeping stuff and so forth. So tell me, what is that experience like with the client?
So the client, okay, the experience with the client is almost like it's almost like a retainership. So we take your business, we provide you with that service. So on a monthly basis, if we're doing back office accounting work for any small business or nonprofit, and of course you have a bank account, right? So, and we would take your bank. If you Sometimes some of our clients will have access to their bank account, direct access online. So we download that, we put it in our software, we crunch the numbers for you, we prepare your financials for the month. There are some entities that have to pay sales tax. We handle that. We advise you. We prepare the appropriate forms for that. So William, you are into the business. If you're in say you're running a group home, as you may call it, right? The home health care agency. There are a lot of pressure that goes along with doing that. So we want to move some of that pressure from you. So for nonprofit businesses, we do the same thing. We'll prepare your financial statement, your financials for the month, for the quarter. We'll file your quarterly returns. If you have to do with your employees, we'll file that quarterly return with an IRS. At the end of the year, we'll issue W-2s. At the end of the year, we'll do the 1099 and things like that for your business. So we also will prepare your franchise tax for small businesses, your federal tax, your state taxes. We'll take care of all that, okay? So we also provide, in addition to that, we also provide bookkeeping, accounting, and QuickBooks training. We've done that, for example, quite recently. We had a lot of engagement during the COVID. One of the reasons why a lot of small business did not qualify for some of these funds that were out there, these loans and some of these monies that were out there, because they didn't have proper records. So one of they didn't have proper records because either they did not have an accountant who would provide a service for them, or they did not do it at all. So
Okay.
this is quite important.
Whoa. So is it that so you're saying that basically most it is best in situations like this where when you're trying to go cheap and a situation like COVID arises, now you may find yourself at a disadvantage because the requirements for some of these assistance, the PPP loans and all those things, they require a very structured financial documents. And so you're saying that now they might have to play catch up, or they may find that they're leaving money on the table.
Exactly. They're leaving a lot of money on the table because they didn't have their financial records in the past. They didn't file the rightful forms with the IRS. Some of our clients, we had to do it for them. We had to do, back filing and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't see the importance of doing that, especially most of our small businesses. That's why we say sometimes we say cheap is expensive. They didn't see the importance of doing that. But even with our COVID, simple things like keeping your records straight, knowing whether you're making profit, knowing whether, for example, as I will tell you this, as an anti-money laundering specialist, there are some advices I give my businesses, all right? I mean, some of my clients, not to get in trouble, right? You can get in trouble depending even on the way you are keeping your bank account. For example, co-mingling your bank account. This is something that I will give this free advice, but this is something that regulations frown on, where you are co-mingling. You have a personal account and you're conducting business transaction in the personal account. That is you don't go to court for that, but that is not advised to do that, right?
Okay.
To use a personal account for business
Business.
purposes. You have to business entity concept in accounting say the owner of the business is separate and distinct from the business. All right. So you have your personal account, you conduct only personal transaction in it. You have a business account, you conduct business transaction in that. And that is free advice I'm giving out to people, that you try to do that, because sometimes it borders on regulations and stuff like anti-money laundering regulations and stuff like that.
Thank you very much. So we want to wrap up this part, but one last thing that I want you to speak on, and also please let us know how Focus on Liberia can help you in terms of your contact information for individuals to kind of reach out to you if they want to employ your services. But talk about one thing that I think most people are maybe apprehensive about when going outside. I want you to speak strongly about in your profession what is confidentiality, how important you guys take confidentiality, and for our Liberian viewers, simply don't tell everybody my business. So please share about that.
Yeah, that's
Personal finance.
that's a good thing you brought. But let me say this. We don't only provide for businesses, we also provide for individuals, especially during the tax time. Now that the tax time is coming, we also provide. We've been doing this for a number of years, providing preparing tax returns for individual clients, our family members, friends, and everybody in between. We do it for in all the 50 states of the United States of America. Once you work here and you pay taxes to the IRS, we do it for you. We are not just restricted in Minnesota or in Texas. We do it throughout. So this year we are giving up to 15% referral bonus. So if you refer an individual to us at any level, whether local taxes or international taxes, if you refer any business to us, when they pay us, we will pay you up to 15%. Up to 15%, because it depends on the structure of the business or what contains in there. But it can be between 5 to 15%. Our contact number is 468-378-3955.
Can we put that on the screen?
It's on the screen.
There you go. Perfect.
So you see that we provide any referral. You call our number, you say this person wants to do their taxes, or this company wants to do their accounting work and their taxes. If the person pay us $2,000, we're going to pay you 5, 10, or 15%, depending on the circumstances. So confidentiality, my friend. In my lifetime, as a personal, I've belonged to a lot of, organization, a lot of certified organization that confidentiality is key. You can lose your license, and the IRS, before you get your PTIN or your ability to be able to file taxes online, there are process you go through. You go through security check. You go through a lot of checks. So, and the confidentiality is stressed. So there's a law on that confidentiality. So as a person, me as a person in my company, as a company, we pride confidentiality so much. We pride our company, our clients' information. That is why, to the extent that our person, we do not discuss our client information, even with our partners, with our wives or with our significant other. We do not. Okay, we do not, let alone we're discussing it with another person. And then secondly, we have the infrastructure, the computer infrastructure that have all kinds of safeguards. For example, you can take my computer today, you can take everything, but you will not see anything in it because that database is kept somewhere else. All right. Except you take my token from my head or you take my password from my head, and my password. And I haven't worked in the industry having worked, with Pricewaterhouse, with all these different, institutions. Confidentiality is key. That is why, in fact, you see me sometimes when we're on this radio station, when we're talking, sometimes I tell you that there's some information I will talk about. There are some things that I will not talk about. Once the information in the public space, I will talk about it. So every year, every time, especially working in the financial industry, we have to go through all these independence check and all these anti-money laundering check and all these different checks. So we are highly confidential. I give you a simple a joke. All right. Somebody will come to me that, oh, I prefer to bring my work to you because I don't want to carry the guy. I mean, I'm talking about somebody who is a non-Liberian. He prefers to bring his work to me because he doesn't want to carry it to the person of his nationality because he thinks his information will get out there. Those kind of myths are out there. But when you're doing this kind of work, we don't. And also, even though you didn't ask, I also want to advise people that, especially with this tax season, not the person who gave you the largest tax return is the best person to go to. All right? The person who does what is right by the law. Because if the person does something wrong and the person get in trouble, a whole lot of people can get in trouble. Okay? And we as immigrants, we can get in more trouble than we can imagine. So it's better to do the right thing. So our company try to do the right thing, not necessarily to give you the biggest. We'll try to give you the biggest tax return if we can. If you give the tax preparer the teeth to bite. And then if your information, and also what we do, we also advise our clients. Before we file your taxes, we'll call you. This is your situation. This is what you're supposed to get. And all that we discuss that way you will go. You give us a go ahead, we file. There's an example of somebody that, oh, okay, we wouldn't file because I want to go this way. I want to go that way. Okay, you can go that way. But we will discuss with you, we will file. And if you have a situation, we'll tell you, okay, we'll advise you next year. That's tax planning. We'll help you to plan for next year. We've done that with a lot of our clients. Okay, next year, do this, do this, do this. And then your tax situation will be, especially when you have to pay taxes back. For example, there are people who will claim 3 on their W-2s or on their W-4, will claim 5, will claim, or they will claim 0, they will do non-exempt. That is not a good thing to do. almost always you get in trouble, you pay taxes back. Then you want to look for a tax preparer who will give you money back. And that process can get people in trouble. So we advise you that next year, if you pay taxes this year, we have a couple of clients who pay taxes and we put them on a program what to do this year. And we follow up with them on a regular basis, on a quarterly basis, and say, okay, where are you now?
Okay.
So we do that. So we follow our client, even the individual client, not just the business, but the individual clients, we keep in contact with them.
Thank you very much. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard from Alan Bernard, International Accounting and Tax Services. And let me just remind to our viewers that this is a licensed professional in the United States of America. And so please, he's expressed the ability, what he can do and so forth. We'll be hearing more about him. But now we want to shift our attention to the topic that we are here for. And we're going to jump right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about budget, your personal financial planning 101. So we're launching this series, Managing Your Personal Finance. What is that? Managing your personal finance, managing finances can be overwhelming. Gabriel, please tell us, what is this personal finance?
Can you guys hear me?
I mean, you are the banker, so
Yeah.
we know you guys have buildings all around. You guys, we hear you tight with your money. So tell us, personal finances. Tell us, share.
I thank you again. I think Alex, that was a great introduction there on the your company and Alan Bernard International. And so again, hopefully people in Texas or Minnesota, I think you have offices in Liberia too. Hopefully they can reach out to you to acquire some of your services. But as you said, personal finance is basically personal financial planning as it relates to your household, right? Every one of us have incomes. Some have 2, 3, 4, 5. But in addition to those income coming in, we also have expenses. So in a nutshell, personal finance is just about managing your income and your expenses, right? Making the money is not the thing, but being able to save and invest in other things and making sure that you're not running in the red, every month. I think that's the essence of personal financial planning. It goes in depth, as I said, to investments, 401k. Some people, as I said earlier, have 3, 4, 5 incomes, in order to make themselves save. But personal finance, that's basically what it is. You're managing your household income to make sure that you're living within your means. Yeah. You're muted.
Oh, these things. I said, Alex, do you care to chime in on that?
Yes. Thank you. I'll put it simple. Money business is an issue, right? So personal finance could be, the family, right? Here we're talking about the family or the individual. Okay, so and like you regularly said, managing your money, is an overwhelming task. Okay, so what individuals should always, or families should always do, is to always take a close look at your finances, and you always have to make a plan. They say when you fail to plan, that means you're planning to what? To fail. Okay, so always, even if it's monthly, if it's quarterly or annually, assess your financial situation. Know, like Gabriel said, right? It's about income and expenses. So know how much is coming in and know what is going out. Like I said, on a weekly, 2 weeks, it depends on when you take pay. So some people take pay weekly, some people take pay every 2 weeks, and some people take pay monthly. So try, it's so because it's overwhelming. I've seen even in our own personal lives, right? We deal with money every time. We have so much obligation. Sometimes especially in the America where this is because of the system that is here, the capitalist system. It is designed to continue for people to spend, and it is designed for people to be in debt, to remain in debt. So you always have to make a list of your income and your expenses so that you understand the picture. All right, list all your income, all the main income, where you're getting from your main job, the ones you're getting from your second job, the one you're getting from your side gig, the one you're getting from the doing doubles. List all that. Put it on the list. And today we'll show you. Today we'll show you an example of a family budget or a personal budget. All right, we'll come to that. But also list you should be able to list all your expenses. List everything, your housing, whether it's mortgage, whether it's rent, transportation, because that's what gets you to go to work, groceries, and every expenses. List them. Even your contribution to the person died, that person, we need to make contribution to this other friend, we need to make contribution to this other community activities. You got to list all those things. All right. So I will stop here for now.
Okay. Thank you very much. Now, I know we're going to be working on that template, folks, so that we can bring it up on the screen about ways to look at your financial planning and your budget. Can you give some ideas of what are income and expenses, please?
Yeah, I'll take a stab at that. So there are two. Income is just pretty much whether you're getting from, your work, which is, your job, or it could be from investments. If you have properties, real estate properties, you're collecting rent from that. That could be income as well. That's if you pay all your expenses on the property, whatever's left, your cash flow, that could be income. If you're invested in the stock market, whether you're getting dividends paid out to you or you're getting interest payment on your savings, depending on how much money you have in the bank, that could be considered as income as well. So income could be just money that you have coming in, right? On the expenses side, it's just your daily expenses, like your mortgage or your rent. It could be your car note, your insurance. It could be cable, utilities, health insurance, all of that, right? That's pretty. Now, some of these things on the expenses side are fixed, like your rent, typically within a year period or 2 years period are usually fixed, right? However, there are some that you can play with, and this is why this topic is actually very important, right? Because it can also give you some ideas of how you can reduce certain expenses to have extra money left over or cash flow at the end of the year, whether monthly or every 2 weeks or weekly left over to be able to save that, right? So there are some expenses that are fixed, and there are some expenses that are what we call flexible, like gas, right? Gas prices fluctuate, right? Your utility, right? Depending what utility company you use, it could be cheaper than the one you had before. Yeah, so some expenses are actually fixed, and there are some that are actually flexible. So the biggest thing to take away from this, I think, will be being able to manage your expenses in a way that at the end of the month or at the end of 2 weeks or whatever, how often you get paid, you're able to be left with some cash flow. The biggest thing here is that you don't want to be living from paycheck to paycheck, right? You don't want to be making money And at the end of the month, you're realizing that, okay, I've spent all the money that I've used, but being able to live within your means.
Let's let's
I think
talk about pressure, Gabriel. How does pressure creep into the financial budgeting in terms of, pressure? I gotta.
so. I will. I think pressure is one way to call it, but also I will call it habits, right?
Okay.
Let me give you an example. If you look at the reason why the 401k was created is
Yeah.
because we humans are, naturally irrational. We make irrational decisions, and in order for you to be able to save, you have
Right.
to be nudged into that direction. You have to be nudged, right? That's
Mhm.
the reason why the 401k was created, because they realized that even though your employer was telling you, hey, you have this, system here where if you put, you know, money aside, you can actually save, but people weren't doing that. So they created the 401k to say, if you put, whatever amount, depending on what company you work for, we're going to add a little bit there. So that kind of nudged people in that direction. But if you look at the statistic out there, right, there is 40% of Americans who do not have $400 saved up to deal with any emergency expenses. So that tells you how difficult it is to save, right? So you can call it pressure, but it's also behavior and what we call behavior in finance, we call it behavioral finance. Like you have to be nudged, you have to nudge people in that direction, but it takes discipline to do that. And, you're right. It's, in a way, it's a pressure. Yeah.
Okay. Let's take a look at the
That's a
list.
no, but
Go ahead.
William, let me add on it. That's a great question, and I like
Oh,
the
you
way
want to attack you want to tackle pressure from another angle?
yeah, and I like the way Gabriel tackled it from the other side,
Okay.
and you know, many of us, we are example of living pressure, hmm? Especially we who come from from Africa and immigrated to this land, and even in Africa, there is this constant pressure, whether it is from the extended family, even from yourself, right? From
Right.
yourself, your own. That's what the word habit is also good.
Yeah.
I will put it there. I will say our bad habits, right? So, but even situational, the fact that you are living, the fact that you could make all the money, the fact that you probably maybe not making enough, the fact that you probably is you're not you're not up to that level to work to that level where you will make the six figure and things like that. The fact that you have to do two jobs just to even make the basic ends meet, which is normal, right? Because of the kind of wages sometimes we are paid because of our level. So people have different levels. All fingers are not equal. But there's this constant pressure on us to take care of our family because we
Back
need to
home.
have a family,
Yeah.
right? It's natural. But we are not living in, we are not living island, right? We have extended family that we have to take care of back home. Or even if you're in Liberia, for example, it makes it even worse
So
because
you're
you
saying
will
you saying if I check the Western Union,
yeah.
we should
So
add it to the line item?
yes,
It should be on there technically for
it's
Liberia.
normal. And my family budget is there, right?
Okay.
You got to take care of the Oma, you got to take care of the Papa, you got to take care of the other sister who dragging, you got to take care of the other brother who dragging, the cousin got to come. So in addition to taking care of your own, which is a pressure you have to take, then we live in a community, right? You have to contribute to the different, organization you belong to
Causes.
and the
Yeah.
different things that happen. You have to contribute. You got to fly somewhere because something happened to somebody. These are constant, normal pressure that sometimes, even if you budget, I don't care how you budget, you do the other budget. The budget is set will die in your hand until you say you won't budget anymore. But I will say this: you always constantly have to make sure that you set your goals. Hmm?
Right.
You always have to set your goals. Always. You always have to keep in mind And then some of the pressures that you can fan away, you got to fan it away, right? You know, and there are things that you can do. One of the things that we can do is, we call it, I believe in something called teach a person to fish so that they can fend for themselves, rather than giving them food every day. So I rather, those people who are looking up to me, I rather try to empower them. I rather spend a little money now so that the person will not come again, so I won't be continuing, right? If I were, even if I won't give you money, if I would just advise you to do X, to do Y, or if I would just read a referral for you, or I would read a recommendation for you to get something, or if I would put all my money in a situation that you will benefit from so that you won't come back, teach a person to fish. But it can be difficult. So you're right for that question.
What are the tools? Let me bring this up because it's one of the things, the budget layout. You know, I'm going to bring it up piecemeal, okay? And I know maybe some of the folks, we tried our best to get it really eligibly read well, but this is what we're working with right now. So tell me, how does this help when you have these listed items? How does it help you deal with keeping track? What is this actually? Yeah,
go ahead.
First, Gabriel, what is this? I mean, what exactly? How important is this? Is this anyway? This template?
Yeah. William, Gabriel, and those who are listening to this program, this is very important. It is very important. Like I said, it starts from setting of your goal. You know, from living, working in Africa, and in the States, and gone back to Liberia and back. You know, we are all living example of the pressure that we go through. But before I go into the budget, and we will come to that, that's what this series is intended for. Next Saturday, we'll be talking about investment. The following Saturday, we'll be talking about insurance and real estate. So it's a three part series to educate people, because it can be challenging. But one thing Gabriel said was that about the 401k, but it can be for it's just not the 401k, because when the 401k forces you to, and that's why people should always, when you're getting a job, you always look for those benefits like 401k. And I will advise people, if you're taking 401k, contribute the maximum, especially when you get a company that is matching you 1-for-1 up to 10%. Begin, throw all inside.
Oh, Mr. Cuffy, please.
Yes. But let's talk about
it. Which company, before you go, please, which company is giving you 10%?
I said, even if they give you 10%, because companies can give you up to 6%.
Yeah.
Because we all want to know, because we want to turn our resume in right now.
I gave a caveat. I said, even if
I know
that was a conditional statement, please don't hold me to it.
Yeah.
You give your
you give 6.
You give the document, all right?
Yeah.
So, but thank you for checking me out.
Yeah.
But I mean, some companies can give, because I've worked for companies that give up to 6%. All right. And I don't know about other companies, but okay. What I meant to say was, take the maximum they offer. If they're offering you up to 5%, take it. If they're offering you 6%, take 6%. Even, and I will repeat that statement, even if they're offering you 10%, go for it. All right. And I made that statement conditionally, not for a matter of fact. Okay. So go for it. But there are other things you can do when we come to savings and other things. We'll talk about that. So in order to set your budget, you got to set your goal, right? For the month or for the year. What do I want to do this month? What do I want to achieve this year? Maybe you're having a big celebration, or maybe somebody passed, or maybe you want to move to the next level. Maybe you want to increase your emergency saving, or you have a project on hand, you want to save for that project that is coming maybe 6 months down the line, or you want to increase, or you want to start your investment. You don't have to work with a company to put to do a 401k. You can do a 401k or annuities on on your own. All right, once you put money in there, or you want to pay up debts, right? So, but you have to be able to narrow your goals to 2 or 3 main goals. All right. Now, let's come to this. To achieve that, you have to always create a budget. You have to create a budget. So you can bring the budget thing up.
I think we may have lost him.
Oh, we may have lost him. So, but
Yeah.
let's be talking until we find him.
No, I wanted,
Yeah.
I just wanted to add to what you're saying.
Mhm.
In terms of, I think there's something important that you say that doesn't necessarily happen for a lot of people. Like you said, in order to stay within your means, you have
Mhm.
to you have to always create a budget. Now, believe it or not, most people don't create a budget. It's as simple as doing a spreadsheet where we put on the screen earlier, we shared earlier, and tracking your expenses. But that seems a little difficult for a lot of people, right? This is why, I think you alluded to that earlier. A lot of people find themselves, especially in this country, we're not saving enough, right? A lot of people are not saving enough. But to create a budget is as simple. It's just, you don't even have to do it on a
You talk about
spreadsheet.
saving, people living in on deficit financing. You talk about saving.
Exactly, right? And it's a big problem. I know we're talking about it, but it's a big problem. But it's like you said, the first step could be creating either not even a spreadsheet, but a simple Word document to track your expenses, right? To say this month I have this much coming in, I have this much going out. If while doing that, you will be able to look at your expenses. Something might catch your eye to say, okay, I have, oh man, I didn't know I was paying this much for cable at this such and such company. Somebody told me, somebody reminded me that I can get it at this company for, a lot like cheaper, right? Cheaper than what I'm paying for now. But without doing that, without creating a budget that you can go to every month to keep yourself honest of your revenues, your income coming in and your expenses, you won't be able to know where your money is going, right? And this is why a lot of people, you know, it's a tough problem, and myself here included, to be able to diligently save month over month is a very challenging problem. So as a human behavior, you have to set yourself up in a way, like you said, the 401k, right? In habits, even if it's monthly, you put in $200 aside, you have to do it automatically. If it's coming from one bank account to another, you shouldn't be able to go in a bank account to transfer it. You should set it up automatically where it will leave from there every month, whether the 30th or the first, let it go to that account, right? So that way you don't have to look at it. It doesn't become a task for you. So that way it's happening automatically. But the biggest step, I think what you mentioned, is that you have to create the first step, take the first step to creating a budget, which is either a spreadsheet or even a Word document or whatever. There are even apps out there now that helps you with that, right? There are personal finances app out there, a whole ton of them. Download one. Some of them help you track your expenses. Some of them even break it down where you're spending your money, how much you spend on grocery, how much you spending on utility, how much you spending on this, right? But in order to really be intentional about savings, you have to be intentional about taking a first step to creating a budget. So I just wanted to add to that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true because and you strike some key points because the challenges that we have is huge, right? So and no matter how much, sometimes the more you make, the more your trouble starts because
More money, more problem.
yeah, more money, more problem because you're making more money now. You want to do this thing that you didn't do before,
Yeah.
but having a plan, having a budget is important because sometimes you will not even know that you're not even making enough. So it's like I tell people it's like going to the doctor. I rather at this day and age I rather go to do my checkup regularly, maybe every 6 months.
Hmm.
They say annually, but sometimes 6 months. Let me know what is happening in my body. If that tablet I would take, I'd rather take that tablet. Or if I would choose not to take the tablet. Sometimes I would tell the doctor that, oh, I mean, I'm not talking about personally myself now, but sometimes if it requires tablet versus exercises, you take the exercise rather than taking the tablet. So it's the same thing. It's like going to your lawyer to know your kids. So you got to go to your doctor regularly to check you up to know what is happening in your body. So you can,
Well, you have to mute.
Have to mute.
yeah, give me some background.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, well, go ahead.
So you it's like going to the doctor. You always have to check what is in your body so you can take the necessary precaution before it happens. If you got to go on a diet, you go on a diet. If you got to stop eating sugar, if you got to stop eating salt, you know, those kind of things. So it is good to have a budget. My brother, I have shown a lot of people the sample budget, and they'll come back to me and say, thank you, right? I have an example. I won't mention who, but I will have an example. I have so many examples, but
use a general term.
Right. Yeah, this one particular example of
well, let me interject, Alex, because I think talk about I think sometimes it's a sense of shame, right? Shame, right? Or is a sense of I should know better. So what is that about? When, you know, should you hide in a corner or should you know when to reach out for help? What are some indications?
I should know better. Yes, you answer the question. I should know better. You should have asked for help, or you should have gone to seek the attention that it had required. Like the example I giving, I should have known. I should have known better. Yeah, you got to check yourself out. You should have, you know, if you need, you should have gone to your doctor regularly to know that, okay, so that they give you the indication that something is happening in your body, so that you can start to address it, so that you can start to take the necessary precaution. It's the same way with financing. You should have, you know, you should do a budget. If you don't know computer, you can write it on a sheet of paper. You can say, this is money coming in, these are all my bills.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the income that is coming in, wages or salary, and that wages and salary, you can put a budget on the board now if you have that. Let's go into that.
Voila.
Yeah, but you know, I can tell you that, for example, I was in Liberia and working in Liberia, and you know, even when I was in Ghana working, it can be challenging, because when you have, like William said, when you have all these different pressure coming in, all these different habits, our own habits, and that's something, even at this level, that's something I do every week. Before I pay one bill, I got to look at that my spreadsheet, and I have it the way it is designed. I have it so, and let me say this, William and Gabriel and those who are listening, the meantime I budget is when my finances are low. I always declare in my house, I always declare austerity measures. When finances are low, that's when I budget.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, I always budget even when finances are high, but that is when I budget. That's when as soon as finances get low, that's when I run to my budget. And you almost always succeed. And even if you don't have the money, if you have deficit, you say, okay, what decision should I make? What do I do? Do I ask to postpone this other bill? Do I talk, here we don't talk to landlord, you don't talk to the mortgage, or do I do some programs? For example, during the COVID, all right, advise people to take that situation where they suspended the mortgage payment and loan payment based on the situation that was going on here. So on the board, it's a typical budget situation. So you have your income, you have to put your income in, and assuming you are alone. So the first row there is the first column there is all the items. You put them there, your salary by row. Then the next column The due date is for all your bills. When are they due? All your utility, your light, your water, your garbage, your internet, your cable, when each of them is due, you got to put that date there. You got to list them, break them down, and put a date there. So you know when you're paying. So you know you pay it before the due date, not after the due date. All right? I'll give you an example. I mistakenly put, sometimes the due dates can change by a day or two. So one of my bill due dates changed, but I still had a 14. They changed to 12. And depending on the month, it fell the next week. So I didn't pay for it. I received a disconnection notice. I said, what are all these people? I always pay my bill. But you have to, you have to be cognizant. That's why we do it weekly. Okay. And then then you also consider your consumer loans. All your credit card, your car note, your this note, your mortgage, you list them every time you update the balance due. I mean the balance on the account, so you know how much is the balance. So if you have a $5,000 credit card and you max it up, or you have a 3,000 balance, so you know maybe when the paper comes, they say when you pay, look on it. They say when you pay your minimum balance, you pay in 10 years. But when you pay maybe $100, you pay in 3 years. You got to observe that, right? You got to observe all of that, and so you know how much you're paying down. And if you want to pay, it will help you if you want to pay down your debt. Maybe you want to refinance your house, or you want to do a project. You want to cut down your bills. Your bill you pay, it can help. Then if you have a partner, you put your income, you put your partner income there. That way, joint account, business account, and picking that one security, joint account, a good security, you know. Yeah, it like he was saying.
It does.
Like he was saying, yeah, if you have a partner, many people don't like it for different reasons. But for some of us who have a lot of pressure for different reasons, social pressure, external family pressure, different pressure, picking, there go your joint account. Yeah, you save a lot of trouble. But
Question.
Tell me, for people who they were in a position where they were budgeting, but with COVID, loss of job and all that stuff, things just kind of fell apart. What's your advice to them that they've stopped? What should we tell them?
Yes, great question. And in this financial world, all the advice we're giving, that's what the pitfall is. And I have seen some people gone homeless, right, for loss of income. When you lost all your income, it's just tough. Then we're not even having this conversation. When you lost all your income, it's tough. There's no budget because there's no income. If you lost one income or your income gone down because, for example, during the COVID, you're working with this job, they're paying you so much, and then you lost that job, and then you have to take a job a lower paying job because of the situation, then now something is coming in, so you can sit down and say, okay, there are times where the income will not meet the expenses, right?
So you shouldn't give up hope. That's what you're saying. Don't just throw this sheet out just because you're making less money or anything. Come back to it.
No, come back to it. And that's the meantime to come back to it. And for example, when I came to the States at first, right, I was not working. It took me some time for my paperwork to go through. So I think it was 7 months or so. And only my wife was working. I came to meet her. And after a couple of months, she lost her job, right? So we came back, and again, as a finance person, I said, let's get on the table. Let's have a conversation. Because nothing coming in right now. It's tough. I just coming. We could get evicted. So we did some things. Of course, we avail ourselves to some programs that were available and things like that. And we got austerity measure, we got austerity funding, and things were paid for until So you got to sit down and think. Don't, like you're right, William. Don't lose hope. Those situations will happen. Don't lose hope. You got to get back on the table and have a conversation with your children, with your, and then always keep your business in your house. Keep it there. If you have to reach to William and William can trust with your information, if he doesn't need to know, don't tell him. I know I can reach to William, and William will help me. William will give me that $500, and he will keep my secret. Then I will reach out to William and say, Mama, chill, give me $5, right? William will send it to me, and William, I will pay back. But sometimes when I'm ready to pay, when I want to pay back, William say, Mama, leave that thing and don't pay. But so those are the things. But this is the budget. Let's go back to the budget. So you will see that on the budget, you see bills. You put a budget back. So capture your bills first. Those are most important. Your house rent, your mortgage, your utilities. You cannot do with that. Then next thing you look at your consumer loans. Of course, you got to pay the people. If you pay the people to spoil your credit or to do something else. Yeah. Then you look at safety. I call this safety because you got to take life insurance, my people. While you are growing, you are doing this, you are doing that, or you're getting old, and for some reason, take a life insurance at some point and pay. And of course, the life insurance people will be coming on the 29th to talk about insurance. And if you can, put some money aside for emergency saving. That is saving that is attached to your account. Like Gabriel was trying to say, when you're doing real saving for long term, don't put it even in the same bank account. Either put it in different bank account or put it in different bank altogether. But we'll come to that, right? And then for me, I like to put college fund because I like to put it up front. To me, it's not an investment; it's an expense that will come. I got children, and you got to put a college fund. You got to put something away, even at $50. They got a 529 program. They got different programs. Put it there. It will help you. It will pay off. Even if the kids go to school, where they go to this school, they get all these grants and they don't pay. Again, you can use that money to make news on it, to buy a car for them, to buy all kinds of things from there. But it must be school fee related, because if you don't, they got law around it. They can tax you on that. All right. So once you finish paying all your bills, and your safety, then you have money that is available now for living expense. You're ready to live now. So you list your food, your groceries, your toiletries. You got to buy them. You always have to assess your groceries, especially now that things prices are going up. The inflation has gone up, and you got to always, all right, you got to assess when you go out there. When you buy, bring all the receipt or look at the direct debit from your account. Listen, how much I spend this week? Know when to go grocery shopping. Either twice a month or every week, or know what you're buying, so that you stick within that. Whether that $200 you're spending every week, you will stick within that $200. And the important things, do that. Your car expenses, your house expenses, other small things that you have to buy. Always keep a budget, right? And then after you finish paying all your living expenses now, then you are ready for your money to invest or money to save for projects. Maybe you want to do a down payment on a house, so you want to save for that. All right. Maybe you want to do a big celebration. Okay. Like my 30th anniversary will be coming up. I'm planning for that. Like when I was moving from Minnesota to Texas, that was a project I saved for that. All right. So the next project I'm saving for is my 30th anniversary, which is coming up. So you save for that, and then you also then you invest, right? So that the rest of the money now you can put it in some investment. So that's a budget. But the important thing is always keep a budget. Gabriel, you got something to add?
Well, hey, Gabriel, if I may, this is for all our viewers. As you guys see, we have this professional, and one of the things that's important is that this is a real person. He keeps it 100% with you. And if you're ever into some of these trenches, you want your tax or financial guy to really understand what you're going through, because he has been there too. So, keep that in mind, FOL, about, Alan Bernard International, the services that they provide. These are real people, real life situations, real expertise, real experiences. So don't shy away if you need some kind of support. And that is from, the financial and accounting and tax services from Alan Bernard International. So please keep that in mind. And with that being said, Gabriel, I'm going to hand it to you.
Yeah, thank you. Where were we? Sorry, I got
Oh,
carried
don't
away.
worry. We on establishing a manageable budget or
Yeah,
setting financial goals.
yeah, and I think I may have talked about that. I think the part that I'm big on, in addition to uh, this, is the safety part of it, right? Like I think Alex may have covered that a little bit, but I think I want to go a little bit in detail. Um, in our African community, and this is something you would know, I'm sure you guys are aware, we don't do a lot of that. Like the life insurance, the the investments, we don't do a lot of that, especially the life insurance, right? And the reason why I say that is because usually when somebody passes in the community, you will get text here, email there, or we got to do this for this person, or you will see the GoFundMe, right? To do that. And the reason that happens is because I don't think now you can say because some of us didn't grow up with that, we can make that excuse. But now that we are here, we have those information available to us. I think that is something I will honestly urge, you know, whether you're in the diaspora community, the African community, that's something we absolutely have to engage in, especially getting life insurance, right? You don't want somebody passing in a community or in your family, and you are going out to the community to. I'm not saying that is a bad thing, but you want to plan for your family, right? That person, even if the community is able to you raise enough funds in the community to take care of that person, the burial and everything else, there could be other expenses out there. There could be debt that person is leaving that could be burden to the family that they're leaving behind. And I think that's something we will cover later on. I think he said we have the insurance people coming on the 29th to talk about that. But I think that's something very important that we need to I wanted us to look at, like the safety, not just the life insurance, but investing as well. You know, we have this notion where we tell ourselves YOLO, you only live once, so you just want to live as much as you can. But guess what? We're living in a modern society now, right? You have what like people are living longer. The retirement
Right.
age is 65. But guess what? You could live 30, 40 years after 65, right? If you don't plan for that period of your life right now in this pace that you're able to work, your body is able to work, you will have to deal with those consequences later on. So I don't want to get too much into it. I think we have a specific date on that on the
Mhm.
29th to cover that. But I really wanted to talk about the safety piece of it
So
because I
so
see that
so
in our
yeah. So Alex, savings. Why
yeah.
why is it so discouraging to save? What's
No, before I go into savings quickly, Gabriel is right. You see, we have this funny to say when most of the time I know that the papa can go for it for the woman, right? So
where you going with these saying?
Hey, Allah.
so when when the partner is okay, let me clear. When the partner is gone, it can be on both sides.
Yeah.
When you see the other partner, the living partner, crying too much, whoa, the first set of crying, the first crying for I think the first day or so, the first 24 hours is the real crying that you feel that the person is gone, right? The next day now is what would do, how, that crying is that the financial crying now. But when the person has an insurance, the natural crying will happen the first day. But the next day, as people come, the people cry, well, at least he left something for us, or at least she left something around, So that's they don't say it, but it's in the background. I think so right, Gabe, it's good to pick an insurance, so that because they say sometimes somebody was talking about something that I was talking to a friend, a Caucasian friend, and the father had written some books and other things, and they were still receiving. The father passed away, but the father is still receiving royalties on some things they did, and some other insurance and other stuff. right? So she was saying, "Oh, the pap passed, but he really left us good, right?"
Right.
It's like because they're going to get lifetime money, right? So yes, even though our community, like for specifically our community, is very good and expect all. I mean, all the communities I've heard this. I thought it was just Minnesota, and hats up to my Minnesota people. They're always coming up to the aid of their people. But I hear that happens in almost all. I hear that happened recently in Dallas, right? I hear all the Liberian community they always come to people's aid. But again, that should be an added help. But always try to take an insurance, and always the insurance people will come and look into the insurance. For example, I was told I had an experience with some people. If you take an insurance at a job, for example, read the insurance policy because sometimes there's a situation where they will say accidental death, right?
Yeah.
Accidental death means you got to die by accident, right? So when you die of other natural causes and you think you have insurance, they won't pay.
Yeah.
No, they won't pay because that death was not accidental. You want to sleep, you die in your sleep. That death was not accidental. So you gotta be. But again, the insurance people will come and talk more because that's not our area. So
Yeah.
when you do when you talk about savings, right, Gabriel? Let's go into savings quickly. So we
Yeah.
can
Let's do that. Let's go into
yeah.
savings. Yeah. Yeah.
So you start first, so I can drive it home.
All right. So the savings part, I think we have a lot of vehicles for individual to save. Um, Whether you're doing it for uh, automatic withdrawals, or you're doing it through I think we mentioned that earlier, 401k investments, or um, there are a lot of other ways people can save, right? I think the best way to do it, given this is something big in the finance world. We talk about behavioral finance, right?
Mhm.
If you want to do it to the point where what we call it set it and forget it, then do it in an automatic way where it will comes either from your paycheck directly into an account, or if you get your paycheck deposited into a bank account, right? It should come from that into a different account where you don't have to go into that account to check it, right? So that's one way. The other one, as I talk about, is 401k, which I think you explain a lot in depth about. That is, like, one time a guy told me, when I was in grad school, I was doing a part-time job. There was 401k. I didn't sign up for it. There was a Liberian guy too. He came up to me one day. I was working. He just took me for a break. He said, "Oh, we have a 401k here. Did you invest in it?" I said, "No, I don't. I'm not making it now. I'm only working here part time." He said, "That's money you're leaving on the table, right?"
No.
Yeah. And he sat down with me, right? That he wouldn't let me leave until he signed me up for that. He said, Just put the bare minimum in," and I end up doing that, right? So
Yeah, even if
even
it's part time, do it.
even if it's part time, right? And that was money that was just going in there. I wasn't touching it when I was in grad school. I had a whole lot of headaches, so it wasn't something I was thinking about. But in the long run, it kind of helped, right? It kind of helps. So every time I think about that, or every time I get a job somewhere, that's the first thing that I do, and
Mhm.
I absolutely urge people to do that. Yes, with the whole, uh, you know, bunch of financial information out there, you will see people say that is not a good way of investing. It may not be a good way of investment in terms of the return you get on there, but is the minimum, is a cushion, is a safety net that that is there. Now, if you talk to professionals, let's say a financial advisor or a tax or CPA person, they can give you better ideas of other vehicles to look at. The life insurance, investing in the stock market or the bonds. They will give you other idea. But do the bare minimum on your end, whether it's a 401k, saving extra money every month, to make sure that you have that little bit of cushion. There's something happening here today, let's say you're driving to work, your car break down, you can tap into that. If you don't have it, you can tap into that. Somebody falls sick, you can go tap into that and pull yourself up, right? So I will leave it on that. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes those little things can help. You either can roll them over into one situation, so the returns on investment can be higher, but those little things here and there, they can help, right? I'm talking from personal experience, okay?
Yeah.
Sometimes you work here, you work there, you have something there, you have the other one there, and when trouble hits, you can leverage on one of those things, even though, yeah, you pay the tax on it, the penalty on it, but you can leverage on it and take care of situation quickly and get out of that situation. So, and for that one, I'm talking about personal experiences. So you can leverage on those things when situations. So savings. So like you saw in the budget, when you there are two types I look at: the savings for emergency, right? So savings should be in monies that is left over after you take your expenses. I mean, if your income and you subtract all your expenses, what is left over is what you left over for savings. But sometimes it's good to embed into your budget as if it's an expense your emergency saving, because you don't know when your car will break, right? The car break down, you can buy a new car tomorrow, something can happen, or you can be having your old age jalopy and something can happen. So you gotta, anything can happen for that matter, right? So you gotta that's why I would advise that you embed, and that savings account is the one that is normally attached to your current account, where you do an automatic withdrawal, and it also serves as a overdraft protection situation. And don't get and one of the things we do, we're always getting these charges, a $35 charge. That's too much. You got your phone here, the phone is there. Always check your account on your phone. If you check it a million times, so that when you do a transaction, you don't have enough money there, do a quick transfer from your savings account. Right? Do a quick transfer from your savings account. And the people, they caught me one time in my whole time. They caught me one time. They slammed me without $12, right? But I'm always careful and making sure that I have, so you have this a savings account attached to your current account, and you have the overdraft protection on it. And you have a automatic, maybe $100, $200, depending on your income situation. You have it going to your savings account. That money should accumulate for emergency. That money you're saving is there to be used for specific purpose. All right. For example, like I said, for unknown, unforeseen circumstances, or circumstances that you know of. For example, you're planning a celebration, or you're planning relocation, or you're planning something, right? Your child coming graduate, you got to plan for that graduation. You got to spend, so you got to start putting maybe $200 down, $100 down, $50 down. So that's emergency fund, so that you can keep that money in your savings account that is attached. But if you want to do savings for project for 6 months coming, you can do another form of savings, right? So different savings are there. Like I talked about the normal savings account, and the savings account is this normal savings account. Correct me if I'm wrong, Gabriel. They don't give you anything. Practically, I haven't seen, because their percentage is 0.0, and you got to maintain a certain balance over a period of time. We're not there. We're always moving that money, so it will not give you. But if you have any reason to save for some, for a project, 6 months, 1 year, or for down payment on a house you are preparing for, maybe you buy a house in 2 years, then you can maybe open it into a different account, or you do online. There's, the percentages ranges from, again, correct me, Gabriel, if I'm wrong. The online is up to 7.7%, just less than 1%.
Less than
most of the savings accounts are less than 1%. The normal saving account are 0.00 something, 0.006, but the online ones could give you
a little higher,
7, and that is less than 1%. Okay, so you can also use a money market account. Of course, money market should be differentiated from the money market a mutual fund. That is a different thing. That is so the ordinary money market account, where you have a checkbook, you have this, but put that money aside. It may give you a little interest, but all these savings accounts, most of them are on on a whole, they are less than 1%. Okay, and but you can also use certificate of deposit, the CDs, but it's time now. Now it's time deposit. You either put it for 3 days, 90 days, or 120 days, and you can't break it, because when you break it, it's not a money that you put in somewhere to say you're running to it. No, that is why you always have to have your ordinary savings account attached to your current account where your direct deposit will go. All right, you always have that. But if you want to put money somewhere for maybe a project that is coming in 6 months or 1 year or in 3 years, you can put that out for a down payment. Then you can open a CD or you can open a money market account and throw money. And some of them require, it depends on the way the account work. Some of them require a minimum balance. Some of them require a minimum amount to open the account and all that stuff. So also, Gabriel, let me talk about this. Susu. Let me talk about this susu. In our communities, we do this susu thing, and I can tell you, in as much as it may appear unorthodox to some people, it's a good place. Once you have the susu club that has been doing it for some time, and they got a track record of not
trustworthy people. Right?
Yeah, it's a trustworthy. It's not this pyramid stuff. Somebody run away with your money. The susu thing can help too.
Right.
Yeah, even though they have their layer administrative fee, and they have, some of them have policies. You got to, I think, pay a registration fee, and you must take loan from them and pay some interest, because that's how they pay dividend at the end of the year. All right, so they have their own policy, but it can help. The reason, as sophisticated as we think we may sound, Gabriel, in our field, in our different fields, the reason is most of these savings accounts don't pay anything. So why put my money? But it's good to put your money in there. But the key is what they, and we've done it before. I've done it before. What the savings account does, it tie you down to putting that money there every month.
Right.
That's the word, commitment.
Right.
Because, but when you put the money in your savings account that is attached to your government, you can go there and take that money off, right? You can take that money off anytime. But when you put it in a susu one, what your friends will say, this, because there's the rules and regulation, right? You got to pay. If you don't pay, you default. So, and I've seen people have to work extra, work a second job just to pay that susu.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just that sometimes they what to do with the money after. Then at that point, now when you get that kind of money, then you can talk to people like us now. We can advise you what to do with that kind of money, instead of doing things that will make you lost. So, and there's a difference between savings and investment, right? Yeah. Savings and investment, they are used interchangeably, but saving is more for short to medium term, like I described, and investment is more for longer term.
Long term, yeah.
For example, a child's college education, your child born now, all right? So say I have you have a child, the child is born now, you start a saving until the person finish high school, when the person go to college, so you can pay for the person's college fee. That's a long time, because that's 12 years, right? Or even if you start when the person was 6 years old, or at some point, that is for college, or your 401k, or saving for your retirement, right? That is investment. Investment can also be done for a while as a business, like you said.
Yeah.
You won't get some profit. You start trading on the stock exchange. You start doing these different online app stuff, which we'll go into next Saturday. We'll have somebody coming here to talk about investment. But for me, I mean, that's the difference. But the key there is the risk, right? The risk. Because savings account has less risk or no risk at all, because that's your own money you put in there and that's your own money you're taking out. All right. But the drawback is they either give you little or no interest at all. Mm-hmm. Right? And like we talked about, the CD can give you a little bit more, but they're all less than 1%. The money market can give you a little bit more. But the investment could give you higher return in terms of interest, money that coming to you, dividend or whatever, but it's risky because it goes up and down. So you got to know that. But that is something that we will go into details next Saturday.
Yeah. No, thank you. I think another thing that I think I mentioned earlier, but I wanted to talk about is using, like, on the investment side. Let's say you have gotten comfortable with saving. I think, you know, depending on your comfort level, depending on how much knowledge you have, I think I will highly recommend you find yourself a financial advisor. Um, somebody who can help you plan out your financial goals. It's from a long-term standpoint, right? The savings, I think, I think saving basically for, short-term purposes, you are able to handle that. But if you're looking at, investing in your long-term financial goals, I will highly recommend you get yourself a financial advisor. And in doing that, you want to make sure you do your due diligence. Look at the person track record, look at how much, uh, money they have on the management, how many clients they have. Right now it's easier. You can find out anything online. Look at the reviews online. Look at the company they're working for, right? But I highly recommend a financial advisor. That's, again, you should also and one thing you should also pay attention to as well is the fee they charge, because every financial advisor, depending on the structure, they will either charge you per per visit, or there are some who will charge you based on the performance of the portfolio you have with them, right? So uh, from a savings standpoint, I think that's something you and I were able to handle. But if you're looking at your long-term financial planning standpoint, where you said, from investment, you want to plan for retirement, or uh, your kids college and all of that, look to having a financial advisor, someone with good track record. The notion is that, excuse me, the notion is that if you yourself is doing it, right, you can put money in the stock market, right, and by investing it yourself, you're able to, and this is why most people do it, right? You can put money in the stock market and be able to pick your own stock, right? You will do as well as the average market performance, right? Even from a test that was carried out, a monkey can do as much as you and I can do to pick out stock investment to perform to meet the market as well, right? But if you want somebody who is able to beat the market, or understand your risk tolerance, your risk tolerant perspective, and your financial goals in terms of how long you want to retire, whether 15 years, 10 years, 25 years, 30 years, find yourself a good financial advisor. I highly recommend that. I know we get uncomfortable with that, but take your time, do your due diligence, find yourself a good financial advisor, and I highly recommend to get yourself a good CPA. Like, you cannot go get yourself, if you want to have a peace of mind, get yourself a good CPA. Work with those two people. Get yourself a CPA and have a financial advisor. Let them handle your investment planning. Let the CPA handle your your tax and other business planning. Yeah.
And that is where Alan Bernard comes in. If we can, if that is on our portfolio, we can
Right.
we can deal with you. If that is not, we have a network of subject matter experts and other individuals and other companies that we can refer you to. Our number is 468-378-3955. If we will solve your problem, we'll tell you. If we will not, we will refer you to one of our network of professional individuals or entities. Again, I want to close here by saying that all these things that we do, I mean, it is difficult. Sometimes it's hard to deal with, but whether in good times or in bad times, try to plan and try to keep a budget. A family budget is important. It makes you to understand what your money that is coming in, even if it's low, even if it is little. People, these hands are not equal. These hands are not equal. Everybody is not equal. Everybody is not on the same page. Each person has their own situation. So, but it's good to manage your funds better, no matter how small it is, no matter how difficult it may get. We know, like we said, the pressure can be high. We as human beings, we've lived the pressure before. We are still living the pressure, but they are different with things. Sometimes we go down, sometimes we go up. But at the end of the day, we balance off with proper planning. And if you're dealing with finances, do a simple budget. I've always, not for money, I've always, taught people how to use a budget, to do a budget. Sometimes I give them a copy, they do their budget, they come back and say, oh, like I was saying, one example of a millennial that was having problem with paying the rent and this and that and all that stuff. Oh, I say, you let get away with it. Can't yet. Just do it. Just do it. After they've done it, I think I'm talking about like 4 or 5 years ago, and that person has been on the steady rise. The next thing the person talking about, Mr. Cuffy, now I want to invest money. You can't show me the investment thing.
That's
How
the
we can
next,
do it.
usually the
Yeah,
next
that's
step.
the next thing now. See,
Yeah.
so this person is succeeding and the person wants to invest. You see, and it's been 5 years now. And the person wants to invest now. So money business takes time. So I would advise people, if you want further advice, again, this is not a financial advice you can use according to our disclaimer. But one financial advice, like Gabriel said, reach out to your financial advisor. If you need additional talk with us, you can call us. We can give you free advice. If it requires money, we'll tell you. But you can call us on 468-379-3955. Alan Bernard International, for short, ABR. Thank you.
And I think that's great. I think we'll close on that note. So again, thank you guys for following us. Thank you for taking an hour out of, actually an hour 30 out of your Saturday to join us. We will be back next Saturday. The topic will be on life insurance, right? We're doing life insurance.
We'll be doing
investments. Sorry. All right. So next Saturday we will be doing investments. That's when we're going to cover bonds, stocks, savings, all types of investment, real estate. We'll go into all of that. So join us next Saturday. And again, it's been a pleasure having you for an hour and a half. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll be having a guest here who is somebody in the investment world. Will be talking to us, and then the following Saturday on the 29th we'll be talking about insurance. So we'll be having an insurance person here to be talking to us. So stay tuned, join us. This is Focus on Liberia Marketplace.
Perfect. Adios.
We are Liberia. Liberia is our home. Liberia people. Liberia.